Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're putting on our historian hats and looking back at a true watershed moment in global industrial history. We're dissecting the 1984 Bhopal Disaster. It's a catastrophic event that completely shattered the boundary between industrial progress and, frankly, unimaginable civilian peril. We'll be tracking the exact sequence of events that led to a monumental system failure and analyzing the truly devastating human cost that followed.
No one had the slightest idea that in a few minutes, this city was going to witness the most horrific scene of death. Let's dive right into the gripping reality of December 1984. As historians, looking back at this, what really stands out is the absolute lack of warning. The sheer everyday normalcy of that evening is exactly what makes the impending industrial collapse so deeply, deeply chilling. Section 1. That night in December 1984, the calm before the catastrophe. To really grasp the shock of this failure, we have to set the historical scene. Picture this. It's a cold winter night, and the citizens of Bhopal are fast asleep. The wind is blowing through completely silent streets. No alarms, no warnings. Contrast those peaceful streets with what was secretly brewing right in the middle of town at the Union Carbide factory. A highly dangerous chemical reaction was quietly beginning inside a massive tank. The juxtaposition is just terrifying, right? Peaceful civilian life completely blind to the violent, deadly reaction building literally just blocks away.
Which brings us to Chapter 2, Chemical Failure in the Factory, the Unstoppable Reaction.
Now, the absolute core of this industrial failure was something called methyl isocyanate. It's a highly dangerous, extremely toxic gas. Essentially, a sudden, uncontrolled chemical reaction kicked off inside a factory tank, and this lethal compound began leaking straight into the air. Actually, some workers inside the facility did sense the danger as the reaction started, but tragically, it was already way too late to stop the massive leak from escaping the plant.
The rapid escalation here is just staggering. It went from a peaceful night with silent streets straight into a localized tank reaction under the cover of darkness. By the time workers noticed what was happening, the safety systems had already completely failed them. That left absolutely zero time for a civilian evacuation before the gas just spread and totally engulfed the sleeping city.
Section 3. The Havoc of White Smoke. A city wakes to danger.
So what happens when this poisonous white smoke breaches the factory walls? Well, the physical impact was immediate and brutal. People literally started coughing uncontrollably right in their sleep. They woke up with a severe burning sensation in their eyes, experiencing intense suffocation, just desperately gasping for breath. Imagine fleeing your home in absolute terror, only to face this cruel irony. The outside air you're running into for safety is actually way more toxic than the air inside.
Chapter 4. Helpless city and hospitals. The system overwhelmed.
What followed was the total breakdown of civic and medical infrastructure. It's like a devastating domino effect. Chaos erupts on the streets, with victims simply collapsing as they run. Then, hospitals become completely flooded with dying patients, but the doctors were left utterly helpless. Facing this incomprehensible influx of people, they didn't know the exact nature of the unknown toxin, so they simply didn't know how to treat it. The entire medical system was completely paralyzed. Thousands. By the time the sun finally rose, the tragic scale of this industrial failure became glaringly, painfully clear. The city's streets were littered with victims. Thousands of people had died. Thousands of individuals who went to sleep in peace simply never woke up again.
But, as historians, our accounting of this disaster doesn't stop at the death toll. Hundreds of thousands, that's the staggering number of survivors who were left permanently ill. We absolutely have to account for this massive secondary casualty rate. Countless individuals lost their eyesight to the burning gas, and hundreds of thousands of others have carried the debilitating physical effects inside their bodies for the rest of their lives.
Section 5. Industrial History's Great Tragedy. The Lasting Legacy.
The Union Carbide gas leak cemented itself as one of the most devastating industrial accidents in world history. It's basically a textbook case study of what happens when dangerous industrial operations and dense urban populations fatally intersect. But behind all the staggering numbers and timelines we've discussed, there's an incalculable human tragedy. Many families were wiped out in a single night. We're talking about orphan children left entirely alone in the world, and whole family bloodlines just erased in a matter of hours.
As we wrap up this explainer and reflect as students of history, it leaves us with a vital question to think about.
How can humanity ensure that the pursuit of industrial progress never again ends in a night that destroys thousands of dreams forever? Because for the people of Bhopal, this isn't just history in a textbook. They still shudder at the memory of that cold December night. Keep asking the tough questions, and thank you for joining me.